The Zodiac Killer case is undeniably one of the most chilling and perplexing true crime mysteries in American history. This elusive figure terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s and early 1970s, committing brutal crimes while taunting police and the public through cryptic letters. These letters were often accompanied by bizarre coded messages that seemed to contain tantalizing clues about the killer's identity and motives. The Zodiac's uncanny ability to evade capture, despite such publicized and provocative communication, has left an indelible mark on law enforcement, cryptologists, and true crime enthusiasts who have tried and often failed to unlock the secrets hidden in his notes. For decades, these haunting messages have posed one of the most enduring challenges in the field of criminal investigation, fueling countless theories and sparking the imaginations of those who study the case. Today, I'm delving into a particularly fascinating, often overlooked aspect of this story: the Zodiac Killer's coded messages, which he claimed held hints to his true identity. These messages have puzzled experts and amateur sleuths alike, with some ciphers still unsolved despite advancements in cryptography and data analysis. The Zodiac's correspondence went beyond typical taunting letters seen in other cases. He appeared to relish in creating fear and confusion, using his words as weapons. Through these messages, he manipulated public perception, drawing intense media attention to himself and holding the community in a state of terror. Even now, over 50 years later, the Zodiac's hidden messages remain a source of fascination, reminding us of the chilling power one individual can hold over an entire society through the simple but unnerving art of cryptic communication. To set the scene, we need to go back to the late 1960s in Northern California, a time when the United States was grappling with change and tension. Civil rights movements, anti-war protests, and counterculture were all in full swing, creating an atmosphere of both liberation and uncertainty. Against this backdrop, a shadowy figure emerged, a killer who would taunt the public and law enforcement with bizarre and cryptic messages that seemed to hold the key to his identity and motives. The Zodiac Killer's first confirmed attack occurred on December 20th, 1968, near Vallejo, California, when he shot two teenagers, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, who were parked on a secluded road. 6 months later, on July 4th, 1969, he struck again, shooting another couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, in a similar location. But what really set this killer apart and made him notorious wasn't just the brutality of his crimes, it was the way he communicated. Only a few weeks after the second attack, the San Francisco Chronicle and other local newspapers received letters from someone claiming to be the Zodiac Killer. The letters were unlike anything anyone had seen before. Each letter opened with a chilling declaration of responsibility for the recent murders and was signed with a crosshair symbol. But the real shock came with the ciphers. In his letters, the Zodiac included cryptograms, complex coded messages that he dared the public and authorities to solve. He even threatened to kill again if his messages were not printed on the front page of the newspapers. Imagine the tension in those newsrooms and the fear that gripped the communities. One of his most infamous ciphers, known as the 408-character cipher, was included in letters sent to 3 different newspapers on July 31st, 1969. It was a combination of letters and symbols, seemingly without any logical pattern. He claimed that solving it would reveal his identity. To this day, law enforcement agents and amateur sleuths alike have dedicated countless hours to analyzing and decrypting these messages. It wasn't until August 1969 that a couple in Salinas, California, Donald and Betty Hardin, managed to decode this first cipher. What did they find? Well, the message was a disturbing manifesto. The Zodiac wrote, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. comparing human life to game animals and claiming he was collecting slaves for the afterlife. It's a chilling window into the mind of someone who truly took pleasure in terrorizing others. But there was one key piece of information missing from the decoded message: his name. This first cipher would only be the beginning of a long and twisted game between the killer, law enforcement, and the public. In October 1969, the Zodiac sent another letter, this time including a shorter 340-character cipher known as the Z340. Law enforcement officials, cryptologists, and amateur detectives have attempted to crack this cipher for decades. For 51 years, it remained unsolved until 2020, when a team of private code breakers finally cracked it. The decoded message was another taunt, stating, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me." However, just like the previous cipher, it didn't reveal his name. Instead, it served as another infuriating clue that only deepened the mystery. The Zodiac wasn't content with cryptograms alone. In many of his letters, he included additional threats and details about his crimes that only the true killer could have known. His letters often contained references to the media and seemed to be crafted specifically to manipulate public opinion and terrify the communities he targeted. For instance, he once referred to the killing of school children and even made a bomb threat. These chilling claims were published in newspapers, further spreading fear. Then, there's the "My Name Is" cipher, another brief code included in a 1970 letter that supposedly reveals the Zodiac's name. Yet, to this day, this cipher remains unsolved, and no one has managed to decode it. The FBI and numerous private cryptologists have spent countless hours on this cipher alone, each hoping it might finally reveal the identity of one of America's most infamous killers. This particular cipher is where many believe the answer to his identity lies, if only it could be decoded. In the decades since his last confirmed letter in 1974, the Zodiac Killer has left an indelible mark on American culture and on the field of criminology. His ability to evade capture, despite being active during a time of significant media attention and an intense law enforcement response, has led many to call him one of the most intelligent and cunning criminals in history. Investigators have pursued thousands of leads and interviewed countless suspects, yet the Zodiac remains an enigma. Some of the most prominent suspects have included Arthur Lee Allen, who was initially implicated due to circumstantial evidence, such as his proximity to the crimes, his obsession with ciphers, and certain personality traits that match the Zodiac's letters. But despite this, there was no conclusive proof linking him to the murders, and he died in 1992 without ever being formally charged. Other potential suspects have emerged over the years, but each time the evidence remains inconclusive. Beyond the immediate terror his crimes inflicted, the Zodiac Killer's actions have left a lasting legacy on forensic science, criminal profiling, and investigative methods. The FBI and law enforcement agencies across the world have incorporated lessons learned from this case into their approaches to serial crimes, particularly regarding the psychological profiles of killers who use manipulation and cryptic communication to taunt authorities. Today, advances in DNA analysis, behavioral profiling, and data analytics might stand a better chance at capturing someone like the Zodiac had he been active in this era. The Zodiac's cryptic ciphers and letters have also sparked interest in the fields of cryptography and code breaking. For years, the FBI has worked alongside independent cryptologists, and entire communities of amateur detectives have emerged, dedicating themselves to cracking the Zodiac's ciphers. His taunts continue to haunt us, serving as a reminder of both the darkness that can exist within humanity and the incredible resilience and determination of those who strive to bring justice, even when facing seemingly insurmountable odds. In closing, the Zodiac Killer case serves as a powerful example of why criminology matters. It's a field that combines psychology, law, forensic science, and a deep understanding of human behavior. The Zodiac was not only a criminal, but also a master of manipulation, using his ciphers and letters to instill fear and to play a game of cat and mouse with law enforcement. His case remains a reminder that as much as we might seek to understand the minds of criminals, there are those who defy explanation, who leave behind only fragments of themselves in the form of riddles and terror. For aspiring criminologists like you, the Zodiac case is a call to look deeper, to think creatively, and to approach each case not just as a puzzle, but as a chance to bring closure and peace to those affected. Whether the Zodiac is ever identified or not, his story remains a haunting chapter in the annals of crime, one that challenges us to question how we approach the unknown and how we might solve mysteries that have seemed unsolvable. Thank you for allowing me to share this story with you. Remember, every case, every cipher, every clue is more than a mystery. It's a call to bring light into dark places and to ensure that justice, however elusive, remains a guiding principle in our work. If you're intrigued by the mysteries of true crime and the pursuit of justice, be sure to subscribe for more untold stories and deep dives into cases that continue to challenge and inspire us all.